Welcome, Earthlings! From the minds of Dylan Oltoft and Rob McNabb, we bring you Laughing on a Prayer!
Do it. Say my podcast.
Laughing on a Prayer.
You're goddamn right.
Yo, Dylan. Yeah, podcast, bitch.
Robert, get a barrel for our podcast.
Hey, I ain't agree to that. Come on, it's supposed to be 50-50, bro. It's supposed to be you and me.
I don't know. What do you think I've podcasted?
Oh, you don't know. Okay. Yeah, no, I get it. Ever since we started this podcast, fucking, god damn it, fucking shit.
I took the other half of the money, and I hired the two best assassins west of the Mississippi. If I ever find out that you didn't watch this podcast, someday, somehow, you may even be walking through the park. They'll get you.
How come you gotta be such a oh god, that's really offensive, isn't it?
Oh, were you going on to Walt Jr.?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I started, but then I thought, oh no, maybe not.
I was hoping we could move on to a Rocks Minerals podcast. What would you mistake a podcast for? Are you watching your radio show? It's a podcast, Marie. Something like that. Oh shit, we should have agreed to that before. That would have been good too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things we should have done before.
Hello there, everybody.
Yeah, what's going on, yo?
Rob does a really good impression of Jesse Pinkman, so I'm really gonna milk this lovely teats.
So I'm
these supple teats.
Teat. Supple. Okay. Yeah, no, you truly are.
And firm.
You are. Yeah, no, you really truly are a poet.
Say that like Jesse. Say your name like Jesse.
Say mine. Yo, you're really fucking poet, yo. And we're gonna bring some chili pea to a chili podcast on this bitch.
Can you do a Saul Goodman? I can't.
Saul Good. Oh, it's Saul Good, man.
Yeah.
Hey, look, okay, so here's the thing. Okay?
Holy shit,
you guys want to have like a podcast, okay?
Rob, you're Al Pacino.
No, that's...
Why are you Marlon Brando now?
Hey, look. Don't ask questions, okay?
I am Dylan Oltoft and this is Rob McNabb. This is our next episode of Laughing on a Prayer. We are today celebrating a beloved TV series. 7 seasons, I think it had. 7, 8, something like that.
4.
Oh, way more than that. It definitely went up to 7, I believe.
Was it 7?
Maybe
it was 4 when it started, stopping sucking.
What, would you say it went downhill after... Okay, I'm saying this now. Spoilers. If you haven't watched it by now, why would you click on an episode?
Oh, it was 5 seasons.
Well, fuck me in my ass. I was wrong. You were closer than me. Okay, so... I lost my train of thought. Spoiler warning. Spoiler. Would you say then it went downhill after Gus died?
I feel that oh, God...
Because you just said apparently there was a drop off.
There's 5 seasons. Yeah, no. I think that they maybe stretched it out a little longer than they could have had.
Are you aware of the theory? Sorry, not theory. Apparently, Jesse was meant to die after the first season.
Oh yeah, no, I am aware of that.
Do you think that would have worked?
No, I do not. However,
do you like Jesse as a character?
I do.
Ooh.
And what I believe is that, and why I said that I think that having 5 seasons was a bit of a mistake, is the fact that Breaking Bad definitely was a massive success, without a doubt. But I think they stretched it out a little too long, and they didn't really know what to do. And so, for instance, Gus Fring is an amazing villain.
Quick shout out to the actor that portrayed him. Amazing work.
Yeah. Gus Fring is an amazing...
So calculated, so calm, so precise. Sort of like a drug lord black Batman. It's just someone that's always 5 steps ahead of you,
and
sort of thing.
Really rich.
What, the actor, or...?
Well, Gus Fring's really rich.
Well, he had a fucking empire, didn't he? He had over 50 Los Polo... What was that chicken place called?
Los Pollos Hermanos.
That was it, Los Pollos Hermanos.
Which means the chicken brothers.
I would have eaten that.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Is that the actor?
That is the actor. He is also... he is in Mandalorian.
Oh shit! I still need to watch that.
Oh, fantastic. Anyway, what I feel is that after Gus Fring was probably the best villain.
Probably the most powerful antagonist.
Yeah, the best villain
Tuco and I'd say he was the most like the overarching antagonist. Like no one's above him. Is he? Exactly. He's like the kingpin.
The way that I see it is that Gus Fring was definitely the best villain within the series.
Because after him, they brought in... they had a thingy find out about Walt.
They brought in these other villains that were just kind of not as charismatic. They were not...
Uncle... The DEA guy. I've forgotten his fucking name.
What, Hank?
Hank! Yeah, after Gus, Hank finds out about Walt, and now he's the antagonist.
But the point is... I think what I'm trying to make is that, Gus... was just, villains after him, like the rednecks and stuff, they just weren't interesting. They weren't
it's interesting the fact they worked for Walt first, and they enslaved Jesse, but in a way, I never felt they were ever against Walt.
Oh, but that's not the point. The point is that they were boring, they were uninteresting, they were not fun to watch, even though they were...
The redhead that shot the kid, though, he was interesting.
Yeah, but nothing compared to what Gus was.
Oh, no way, not even a horse race.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the kind of issue that I have. So again, I've talked about Outlander again, but like with Outlander, they have Black Jack Randall, who is possibly the best villain ever conceived ever. But then all the other villains after him are boring, uninteresting. They can't hold a candle to him.
So you say it's sort of like an MCU situation where they're trying to find eventually a villain to top Thanos.
Yeah, which they can't, and therefore all the other villains before, if you can't top the biggest one, then you're going to be boring. And that is where I feel, and it's my feelings, I'm a millennial, I'm a fucking snowflake, I don't give a fuck. That is where I feel that Breaking Bad kind of...
I wouldn't say that's a controversial opinion. A lot of people feel like you do.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Gus.
Yeah, but everyone's like, millennials have feelings, therefore they're snowflakes.
Are we millennials? We were born in the 90s. I thought millennials are born in the 2000s.
Millennials, I believe, is when you grew up at the turn of the millennium. I don't fucking know. Either way, the point is that...
we're nearly in our 30s. Should we call ourselves millennials?
But the point is, like, with Breaking Bad... I feel that they had the pinnacle of a great villain that was killed, but then they decided to kind of try and drag it out and milk it out a little bit more, and they just couldn't do it. And
they tried to make it so Walt, in a way, was replacing Gus, and it didn't work on the same scale, because Walt did not have his infrastructure, his connections, his power... influence anything like that. So,
and there was the storytelling also went downhill.
I kind of preferred it when Skylar stopped bitching and actually joined Walt and started. They bought the car wash and started laundering his money, and she stopped being less of a nag and started being like, "Well, you're making too much fucking money. Like, where I can't launder all this." That moment where they had it all in garage.
Yeah.
Imagine that episode of Storage Wars. Someone buys that.
But then, once again, Walt, you're making too much money. It's like, really, Skylar? Like, you've been a drag through the entire show. All right?
So many people try and defend her. Oh, she's just a strong woman that's trying to protect her family. Her husband's actually getting involved in murderous people, and she's trying to stop that.
It's like, oh yeah, she's a strong... It's like, yeah, no. The fact is that she slept with her sort of boss just to spite him.
What was his name?
And then she left...
Was that the guy that was fucking over with his taxes?
Yeah,
that Skylar had to pay off? Ted!
Yeah, and then
piece of
also
shit.
she called the police on Walt. You know, saying, oh yeah, there's...
Wasn't that Walt Jr.?
No, it was Walt. It was Skylar called the police on Walt because he turned up at, you know, his own house, and she was like, "Oh yeah, there's a domestic disturbance. Someone's broken into my house," and then the police came up and were like, "Well, actually, like this house is still your husband's house. You can't legally break into your own house, so we can't."
Marriage laws in America and property laws must be very conflicting.
Well, yeah. Whatever, but it's like, you know, it was like she called the police on Walt.
That pizza on the roof.
Yeah, exactly. Threw the pizza. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did that in one take.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it did.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
Bryan Cranston. Let's give a quick shout out to Bryan Cranston, who is phenomenal. Like growing up, I knew him as the dad on Malcolm in the Middle, and I never knew him as anything other than that.
I've never.
And then I watched Breaking Bad.
Really, I've never watched Malcolm in the Middle actually.
So that was your first experience of Bryan Cranston. It's very surreal watching him be Hal or into that. I won't lie to you.
I got a question.
Malcolm in the Middle was like a comedy family sitcom sort of thing.
It was, yeah. I think one of the things that I would say about Breaking Bad is that what I love about it is the fact that how Walt comes from this very sort of submissive and kind of boring guy into this kind of...
That's the thing. I don't think he was ever like that. I think he was domesticated in the same way. If you capture a tiger in the wild and keep it in a cage long enough, it will be docile. But eventually... Just like the tiger that attacked Siegfried and Roy in Vegas, it'll snap.
Oh, I don't know.
Walt was always a tiger. They said in the flashbacks, he was a revolutionary. He was a genius. He created grey matter. This was an alpha that was caged to be a beta. Again, a lot like Jack Torrance in The Shining. I mean, this is someone that was very dominating, that was domesticated. And I feel like everything that happened was that being unleashed.
I will say that the alpha-beta... stuff is kind of pseudoscience.
I agree. I'm just using it as a...
But what I will say is that he is very proud.
He has an
ego. So, like, you know, the whole thing when Walter Jr. starts, starting up, like, the charity online donation.
Oh, for his money.
Yeah, for his money. And actually, he's like, I don't want you to do this because he's like, I don't want people to think that...
I can't take care of myself.
He was like, no. It's like, I don't want people to think that we just got lucky. It's like, I made that money. Like, I did
the people that fucked him over, his friends from Grey Matter offered to pay for his treatment and he told them to fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think Walt is very proud.
Well, Mike said that himself.
He's got a big ego.
That's what caused Walt to kill him. At that bit when Mike said, we had a good thing going, everything ran like clockwork, but you came in with your pride and your ego. And then what did Walt do? Fucking shot him.
Yeah.
Walt is very proud, but again, it's not undeserved pride. Let's quickly quantify that. There is a lot of undeserved pride. Pissants acting big. Walt is big. He's always a big fish in a little pond. And I think that's, this is genius teaching high school chemistry and in his suburban little home when he should be in a mansion. Yeah. This guy should have a Nobel Prize and all that. He's a big fish in a little pond. So his pride is deserved but unrewarded. And I think that's what builds the resentment.
Yeah, and again, like with the, Walter Jr. setting up the charity thing for him to launder his money. He's like, I don't want people to think that I just got this by happenstance. I want people to know that I fucking earned this money. Well, I found that because he is a very proud person. Even with the fucking
let's quickly point out it's not Heisenberg that's proud, it's Walt.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those are two different people. Walt is proud.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the there's that scene with this guy who's like a massive dick, who's talking.
Like that narrows it down.
In like his ear. And the Walt, the guy goes into like the guy that's being like a massive dickhead. It like goes into this sort of petrol station. Then Walt sort of like looks around and then he picks up this sort of thing and he sticks it in the guy's engine and.
Well, what about those teenagers that were making fun of Walt Jr. in that clothing store?
Yeah.
And then he walks over and steps on the heel. Like, what's the problem? Struggling to walk?
Yeah, and most notably the guy that is trying to buy meth stuff. And he goes, I was like, why are you buying this? It's like
in that fucking home-based store.
Yeah, he's like you're buying the wrong thing.
You're buying the wrong matchsticks. You need to don't buy it all at the same place.
Yeah, don't buy it. And then he goes up to the guy. He's like, "Stay out of my territory."
Well, that's the thing. There's that moment.
That's the point because he is proud.
He realizes after he displays that advice, he says like, "Oh, just some dumb kid cooking meth," and then he realizes some dumb kid cooking my meth.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's like, "Stay out of my territory."
And because he's proud. He doesn't want anyone else.
But just with a look, they saw this guy. They've never met. They didn't know who he was, but he came out and said that, and they fucked off.
Again, there's that also scene where where Jesse's about to try and kill the two guys, and then he runs them over, and he plugs them both in the head, and like just nonchalantly, he just goes bang, bang.
It did help that
Jesse.
It did help that he saw they killed a kid.
Yeah,
I don't think he would have done that so much if they hadn't.
Oh yeah, but the fact is that he shot those guys in the head like it was just business. He just went bang, bang.
Didn't they kill that friend of Jesse's? What was his name? Combo,
yeah.
What a fucking
there was
name.
a kid. No, there was a kid that killed
Combo.
Combo.
The kid worked for them, and then they killed the kids.
Yeah, and then Walt killed those two guys that was about to get. He just went bang, bang, and he went Jesse. I was like. It was so nonchalant. He was like, thing is, he doesn't even care because Heisenberg, that's business.
Heisenberg.
Yeah, it's like, that's murder.
This is not meth.
Yeah. Oh. Exactly. Oh, such a good scene. I love it.
That moment with Tuco was better than Tuco's actual death and all that shit. Like,
Tuco's death was very, like, kind of underwhelming. It was like, I get it that Hank, lined up the sights, shot him in the face. Okay, cool, but it's like...
And the whole moment they're trying to poison him, and obviously the fucking uncle with his little bell in his wheelchair was warning him and all that shit.
About the fact that they poisoned him, or were trying to poison him.
Thing is, a lot of people talk about, like, oh, Walt ruined Jesse's life, but if I'm remembering the series correctly, if Walt had never intervened, Crazy 8 would have murdered Jesse thinking he sold him out to the cops, because Jesse was sleeping with some woman in the house over when he got arrested.
Yeah.
Am I remembering this correctly? Like, I think Crazy 8 would have killed Jesse anyway. I swear.
Which, was it the prostitute or just the girl?
Because
there was Jane that Jesse was sleeping with.
Oh, that was the girl that ran the house, and then the father. Yeah. Plane crash.
Yeah, and
I feel that took a lot
really
of time in episodes. Like,
yeah, and there's that scene.
Would you say that was Walt's fault?
No, because she was overdosing.
No, I mean the fact that inadvertently, because Walt allowed her to overdose, the father became depressed, went back to work, and caused those flames.
No, I mean, if your daughter has just died, mate, fucking take a day off.
To do what?
Mourn the death of your daughter.
A lot of people, when facing tragedy, or do bury themselves in their work, sort of thing. Like, to distract them.
Maybe they do.
It's very human.
But again, like, you might think that's the Heisenberg.
I'd say that's his manager's fault. Yeah, here's my recently bereaved guy being in control of massive aircrafts full of hundreds of people's lives. And no other scanners next to him caught track of this fucking flight path.
Yeah, fine. That's their fault then. But it's like Walt knew. Like, he walked in the thing, and that, I think, when he switched to Heisenberg, he was like, hey, look, this...
Because they were blackmailing him, weren't they?
Yeah, no, she was blackmailing him.
Yeah.
And he was like, she's overdosing. I need to get an enemy out of my way.
He eventually told Jesse, though, didn't he? When he wanted Jesse to shoot him.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. But
Jesse never did.
But at the time, he was like, Jesse's right there. He ain't gonna know. But right now, I need to destroy my enemy in order to You think, and that's what I like.
Just like when he fed Brock the ricin, even though he wanted to, because Gus was turning Jesse against him, so we needed to turn Jesse back against Gus.
Yeah, and that's what I like. One of the great things I like about it is that I like trying to sort of guess when Heisenberg / Walter White is kind of taking
like
over.
the bit of the celebration when Walter gives Walt Jr. a little bit of scotch or whatever it was.
It's tequila.
Tequila, that's what it was. And he's saying, and then when he looks and he gives him another shot, and then Walt Jr. turns to Hank and said, "Why are you looking at him?" That's when Heisenberg snaps in. It's like, we're so, because Hank was being a bit of the dick he is. And then Heisenberg took over. He's not going to take that shit from Hank anymore. Him, like, emasculating him and being the big tough guy.
There's also one where they're all playing poker together, and he calls Hank's bluff. And he's like, call it. And then Hank pulls it, and then he kills it, and then he wins. And you're like, oh, it's that kind of side of him that
there's an interesting,
it's like that takes the risk, and then once you take the risk, you win.
There's an interesting theory with Walt. Remember when he was like, Hank was helping him move, and he said, "What have you got in here?" Like bricks, and he said $100 million in cash and all that.
$50,000 in cash.
Do you know, there's actually a theory that the reason Walt always told Hank the truth is because as a DEA agent, Hank has been trained to know when someone's lying to him. So Walt always told the truth, and as a result, Hank always thought he was kidding, because he would catch on to see if someone was lying to him.
He didn't know. During the card game.
I just mean in stuff like that. Like when Walt would always sort of be honest with him in front of Hank as a way to subvert his DAA training.
I think that's because he knew that Hank was kind of an idiot.
Well, that as well, and again, that's just a theory that Walt was doing that because Hank in his like.
Let's be honest.
I mean,
Hank
you do get training in that sort of special service to know if someone's lying.
But Hank is not good at knowing when someone's lying or not.
No, obviously,
because like all the interrogations with Jesse
on the front, he's obviously just blowhard and all that sort.
Yeah, but like the interrogations with Jesse and Badger and stuff like that, Hank is not. He doesn't know. The
fact you mentioned interrogation immediately made me think of that one episode when Walt had like 11 people killed in prison. Well, how good of a scene was that? Yeah. It's like, we can do it, just not in the way you want. And then Walt goes, yes, you can. That's what I'm paying you for. And we get this like, what is it? No, it was literally a 60-second scene because of the clock. We see like 11 guys killed in prison, like so nonchalantly. And there was I watched this thing on the YouTube. It was this guy, like a prison guy he was like a former prisoner reviewing that scene, and he was talking about this is how shanks happen. It's done so quickly, so quietly, and then everyone just moves along. And it was like apparently so realistic the way all those murders happened.
Yeah, sure.
So fucking dark, and that was such a cool scene. And then the guy just gets a call like, it's done, and Walt just hangs up.
And that's the great part. Like, and you see it with Gus as well. When Gus gets the cartel guy murdered with like a hit squad. And like these men, and that's the point where you're like, oh yeah, these guys are fucking just like businessmen. It's like they plan shit out, and that's when like Gus and Walt become sort of like one. They plan shit, stack bodies, like they get people killed.
God,
and they do it on their time. It's like, you got these people, you kill them in this way, you kill them at this time.
Wait, do you mean Gus and Jesse? Because Gus took Jesse out to El Paso.
No, Gus and Walt. Like how Gus got all those people in prison.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm with you.
And how Walt got all those people in prison murdered, and how Gus got all those people.
I know what you mean.
That
was a good scene.
Yeah, where he got the guys like open the door, and the guys like
made himself throw up and to get the poison out and all that shit.
Oh no, the one before that.
I thought you were talking about the cartel leaders.
Yeah, no, those cartel leaders. Gus set up a whole hit squad of fucking people just to gun down like cartel leaders and shit.
Trying to remember that. I remember seeing when
I watched it today.
When Gus had like the leaders of the cartel poisoned and all that. I'm thinking of that right now.
Before I watched it today, there's one where there was like cartel. So it was just after the those two hitmen.
The two ones that Hank killed.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, there was the one guy that Hank killed, and then the other guy with one leg gone.
Oh
his
yeah,
legs cut
he
off.
was in hospital.
Yeah, sadly. And then Gus was like, oh shit, can't have one guy alive to identify Walter White. So I've got to have them gunned down. So
Gus did protect Walt. Like,
yeah, exactly. He did because of his business. He was
could you
like,
imagine if
he was
Walt-
like, oh, it's my business. I need to do this. So he had the cartel leader gunned down, like with a fucking like hit squad and shit.
Could you imagine if Jesse had never fucked up and Walt and Gus teamed up? What a force they would have been.
I mean, they kind of did though, because like Gus dangled that whole thing. It's like, oh look, Walt, there's this whole fucking laboratory that you can cook meth in.
He was given everything, and then because Jesse caused shit, Walt protected Jesse, and in protecting Jesse, turned him against Gus.
And also realised that
He had it
what's that
made.
fucking dude? What's it, Dale? A fucking
Gale.
Yeah, Gale.
That fucking
Like
nerd.
fucking like Walt realised. He was like, oh shit, Gale's actually just trying to learn how I cook my meth.
Okay, there's a
And
fun
so,
moment
like,
here.
we'll be there, and he's like, oh shit, and that's why he fired Gale, because he was like, you're trying to fucking get information on me, and so I fire you, and that's why I'm going to bring back Jesse, because, you know, I know the moment that you fucking report to Gus, you know,
You're currently
it's-
rewatching it, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. Do you remember when he fired Gale? He said,
Yeah.
you're like Jazz. And there's nothing wrong with Jazz. Jazz is amazing and all that. And he brings it to Jesse. If you rewatch the scene when the two of them are making meth, Jazz is playing.
Yeah, no, it is. That's the point.
That is such a good thing. Like, when they're making meth and then jazz music is playing on like a montage. And it says,
Yeah.
you're like Jazz. And nothing wrong
That's
with it.
And
I just
also,
think that's such a cool
and
thing.
also, that's the thing, it's like, Gale asks, he's like, oh, so like, why'd you do this way? And then Walt explains it to him. But then there's a scene or a shot where Walt goes like, and then
Because Gus knows he can control Gale, but Gus
yeah.
doesn't know he can
yeah,
control
exactly.
Walt.
And then that's the point where Walt is like, you're fucking working for him. You want to get...
Doesn't Gus visit Gale and talk about, like, how are you coming along with learning about
he does,
Walt's like?
because Gus wants to just get the formula. All right, kill Heisenberg, kill Jesse, and then get Gale to just cook for the rest of his life. That's the thing. And then, Walter gets it. He's like, fuck, like, you are not a friend, you're a spy.
I do like that line from
And
Walt.
that's when he gets
Yeah.
Jesse to try and kill. He's like, "You are not a friend.
that was
You
such
are."
an intense
Yeah, it's like
scene.
you're a spy, and I will fucking kill. Like you're a nice guy. You're, but I will kill anyone.
That moment when, like,
Oh,
Hank had
so
brought him
good.
to the lab and he was all like, once we get this sorted, we'll be fine. And Walt immediately realizes he's about to be killed. And he tries to negotiate with Mike first, and Mike is just like, doesn't do this, and he says, can I make a call? And like, makes a call to Jesse, they're going to kill me. Do it now. Do it now.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck was that? And then Jesse's like, and then he says Gale's address, and Mike realizes, holy shit, they're about to kill the only other guy that can make this meth.
Oh, Mike is such a good character.
We'll talk about Mike in a sec. He deserves a solid 10 minutes on his own.
100%.
Can I quickly ask, did you enjoy Jesse? Because I'm going to quickly add, there were moments he pissed me off. The bits when he was with his parents, I didn't give a shit about. When he was at the addicts recovery groups, when he was trying to get them onto his shit, you're a fucking prick. And then there was the bit when he was like trying to, I think it was when he was recovering from killing Gale. He had like this, and he was like playing games at his house. He was like letting people party there. People were stealing his money. Mike was killing them, bringing his money back. Like, Jesse pissed me off so much. Do you like Jesse
Do I like him?
as a character?
As a character, I like him as a character.
Why?
I like him as a character because he's one of those characters that he seems, I quite like in the way that he is very unpredictable.
In what way?
In the way that even though you know that he's not hugely smart, and he does the thing that he does. For instance, as you said, getting people to party at his house. Again, he takes
trying to get recovering people to take his shit.
Yeah, does all that stuff. He does all that. He does that, and you're like, okay, he's done that, and you know that the fact that he's doing this means that this is going to affect Heisenberg, Walter White. Definitely, because those guys are the main focus of the story, the show,
right?
And again, he's a little bit of a pussy, or kind of a lot of pussy.
It's not like any of us would be any different in this show.
Yeah, it's like he's a young man, and he's
sort of our stand-in to experience Walt.
Yeah, and he's definitely one of those.
Even I wouldn't do the shit he's doing, though.
Yeah, I know. But he's definitely sort of he's definitely the character that is an antagonist, but sort of inadvertent antagonist to Walt.
Oh, absolutely. He caused so many problems.
He's not, and what I think is interesting, or at least, interesting about him, is the fact that he is technically on Walt's side. He's not like a villain or a stereotypical villain. He's on Walt's side, but yet he is still an antagonist to Walt.
I've said this about Jesse. I do love that scene when Gus brings him up to Mexico, to the cartel's laboratory about meth and all that, and he's looking around and shit, and he says, "Where's your hydrobalgic acid?" And Gus is translating and all that, and he says, "We make it ourselves," and all that. Like, well, where the fuck is it, bitch? And like, Jesse did have his really cool moments, because again, he's learned from Walt. And there was this guy looking down on him like this fucking burnout, but because Jesse has Walt's supreme knowledge now, like there was that. Do you know the scene I'm talking about? Like when he was in the...
Yeah.
And he was looking around and he was talking to the cartel's scientists like they were absolute bitches. I kind of love that.
Again, but that's because, again, Jesse has this kind of idea of the fact that he wants to be seen as kind of more than he is.
Oh yeah, that's why when Saul Goodman tried to get him to buy that nail salon to launder his money, he was like, "Nah, bruh, I'm a criminal." And, Saul was trying to be like, criminals go to jail. It's like, yeah, but I'm such a badass criminal. And Saul was just like, how do I approach this fucking moron?
Yeah, it's like, what do you think they're going to see? Oh, they're going to see a drug dealer. No, they won't. They're going to see a tax evader. Worse. Yeah.
I love that. Saul is so great.
Yeah, again. Yeah.
Worse. Tax evasion. That's how they got Capone.
And once again.
They didn't give a shit about the people he killed.
And once again, like Heisenberg and Jesse, like Walt and Jesse, they're both very proud people. They're very proud. They don't want people to think that they're just, would
you say
subjects.
Jesse's pride is more undeserved than Walt's? Because Walt is actually smart and Jesse is kind of a hanger-on. Like, obviously Walt's taking him for a ride, sort of thing. Like, Jesse, without Walt, Jesse would have died 9 times over. Is what I'm saying.
I wouldn't say it's undeserved. I'd say that it's...
Okay, what has Jesse achieved?
Well, it's not what Jesse's achieved. It's what Jesse has done that he doesn't, he doesn't have the full picture of...
What, like killing Gale, or...?
Well, no, like the full picture of like what's actually happening to him, because like he cooks meth and he thinks it's like, and he says it in one of the episodes. He's like, "What is there more than money?" It's like, well, actually, there's kind of a lot more than money, my man.
Oh yeah, he gets involved with that woman with the kid, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's like what's more than money? It's like, well, actually, kind of a lot. There's a lot more than just
He's just an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. He is an idiot, and that's why it's like,
Well, he quits high school, like,
and that's why Walt says is like, you gotta listen to me, because I fucking know kind of how stuff works.
I do love it when Walt left his car wash and like grabbed his crotch and like that fucking this that
and your eyebrows.
Oh yeah, about to say that eyebrow, and then Skylar tries to buy the place, and the eyebrow guy's being a prick. So Walt sends his like henchman. I don't know how to describe the black guy that had the big bump on his head, and the other guy, like his henchman, basically. What Sol called him his A-team and all that when they tried to get Ted to sign the papers for something. I can't remember exactly.
Oh my God, Scott! I fucked Ted. Oh,
I guess it's time we talk about some of the ladies in the show. Skylar and Marie.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, and the other one, Lydia. Let's talk about the ladies.
Lydia.
Do you remember Lydia?
Vaguely, I can't...
She was the woman that was working with her. Mike almost killed her. She had a thing going on with the redhead. She was the one trying to get the meth to the Ukraines or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
She was this prissy little uptight bitch. Actually, come to think of it, a lot of women in Breaking Bad were not very well portrayed. I don't know if that's due to the height. To be honest, you get that in so many gangster movies like Casino or Goodfellas. Women, or even Legend and all that, women are not really usually the best portrayed. I'd like to see a gangster movie where a woman is like the leader and kicking ass, personally, but that's just...
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like, imagine, for example, Sarah Connor or Ellen Ripley as like a mafia leader.
I mean, there are definitely stories that you can do with women as the main focus.
But the patriarchy, Rob.
Yeah, but the
patriarchy. Let's talk about Skylar and Marie.
If there are any women or whoever listening to this, look up the Night Witches. You can make a film out of that.
Me and Rob insanely respect women, which is why we are about to talk about these women that absolutely do not represent strong women. We are debasing them because we respect you so much. Skylar's a bitch.
And it's not the fact that they're women, it's the fact that they're wankers.
Oh yes, these are just reprehensible people.
We don't like them because they're women. We don't like them because they're wankers.
Speaking of which, that's a good start with Skylar because she gave Rob Walt a hand job. Oh, fuck.
Hey!
Walt a hand job in his episode.
Did you say Walton Job?
Walt a hand job.
No, I would not ever accept any sort. I would not let that. I would not let Skylar.
Oh, fuck's sake.
So no. But what I will say is that Anna Gunn, which was the actress's name, the fact that she managed to invoke so much hatred within me just for a few lines, I think that is testament to her performance.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think
I want to quickly add this: never blame the performer for the character, or you're an idiot.
Oh, she's so good.
If a performer's made you hate a character, my reference here is Ramsay Bolton. Yeah. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, she's done a great job. She really has. She really has. Really, honestly, she's great. Skylar as a character, I guess I could say that the creators of the show definitely probably just wanted us to hate that character. I imagine there's very little.
Would you say there are moments they tried to redeem her at any point?
I suppose there were moments there where they tried to, but then those were very much overwhelmed with moments of, oh no, she's actually terrible. So
I remember episodes when she was talking to a lawyer and she actually told the lawyer, my husband's cooking meth, and the lawyer was like, get your kids out of that house right now and all this sort of shit. And then she was like, nah, he's kind of got a shit ton of money.
Yeah, again, that's not a good trait, is it? Oh no, I would do, but he's got loads of money.
part of me was always just... My problem with that is, like, what happened to the lawyer? It's like, Walt should have heard about that and probably killed that lawyer, because now that lawyer knows shit.
I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? Because it's like...
I feel like the writers kind of forgot about that.
Well, no, because the whole point is, like, if you're a lawyer, you got to have, like, you know, confidentiality and shit.
I'm not sure lawyers have that obligation legally. This is me speculating, but like with doctors and all that sort of thing, I'm not sure lawyers have the same sort of thing.
Yeah, no.
Psychiatrists and doctors do, but again, doctors do. Do lawyers?
They do. They do.
But they can only violate it, again, like with psychiatrists, if they believe their client is indicative of committing a crime that can harm people.
Yeah, which she wasn't. Just because your husband does dodgy shit doesn't mean that you do. She's not Walt's.
See how that holds up in court?
She's not Walt's. She's not Walt's lawyer. She's Skylar's lawyer. So.
Wasn't the reason like she didn't divorce Walt is because married couples can't testify against each other in case they got fucked up?
Yeah.
Skylar's so opportunistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't there that episode where
she's opportunistic?
She just randomly just went inside a pool and just went to the bottom and was just
no. She's opportunistic.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sociopath.
Who's worse, Skylar or Marie?
Skylar.
I remember in the first season, Marie was really annoying. She had that shoplifting plot line that went nowhere.
Yeah, she was annoying, but the thing is, there's a difference between being annoying and then what Skylar does is there's a difference between trying to, use or trying to manipulate the justice system to get your husband out of the house.
I guess there was that. I guess if there's one thing I can say about Marie, she at least stood by Hank.
Yeah.
Like when he was paralysed and all that, like she was devoted to him.
Yeah, whereas Skylar did absolutely everything to alienate Walt. Skylar's a cunt. Marie at least sticks by her husband.
Yeah, I can't fault her on her. As moralistically as a wife, Marie comes at head and
And
shoulders.
again, what exactly is it that Hank has done to warrant Marie to try and leave him? Like nothing.
What?
He's actually been through a fucking shit ton.
He's always been a solid sort of family man.
I mean,
I mean, they never had kids themselves. I don't know if that was.
I get it. Like Hank is a dick.
I think he's one of those like
Hank has slayed fucking bad people. He's fucking killed Tuco.
DEA. That's no easy feat.
Yeah, exactly. He fucking killed Tuco. He fucking killed those two fucking twins. Or he killed one of them at least.
Yeah.
Like Hank. Hank is a bit of a dick. But he's a solid. He's a solid individual. All right. Whereas, and Marie sticks by him because she knows like that there is nothing that Hank has done that has warranted Marie to want to leave him. Whereas Skylar is completely the opposite. Like she wants to leave Walt because she's like, oh, like he's boring, blah, blah, blah. And then she, like every moment, she sees the opportunity to make him try and feel bad.
Would you say the seeds of dissent were slowly sowed? Because I remember her suspicion started with finding out Walt had two cell phones, one to call Jesse and one his regular one, because she thought he was cheating, and they're like... would you say it was a gradual thing, or was she just like immediately a bitch?
It was before that. I mean, no, she was a bitch before.
Was she?
Yeah.
I think she started off pregnant with their daughter Molly.
No. She wasn't pregnant before. She got pregnant after. And then she got pregnant. And then she became a bitch. Because, Walt got cancer. And then she was like, oh, who's fucking Jesse Pinkman? Whatever. And then Walt said, oh, he sells me pot, like weed, or whatever. And then she went to Jesse's house and said, oh, don't sell weed to my husband again.
Oh, yeah, there was a whole plot line of them thinking Walt, like... Fucking Hank thought Walt Jr. was buying weed
Yeah.
and took him to like a prostitute
Yeah.
and shit.
Oh, how much is it
I
for
forgot
a
about
windy
that.
windy?
Holy shit, I forgot. There was a moment when Jesse tried to convince a prostitute to give these gangsters poisoned burgers. I forgot about that. That must have been so shit, that's why I forgot about it. But yeah, I remember that.
That's stupid, yeah.
Just some prostitute at a lay-by that blew truck drivers as they went by.
Yeah, basically. It was he called him like, oh, it's the Crystal Palace. He's like, oh yeah, it's Crystal Palace. You know what they call the Crystal Palace? Smoke. It's that was a really offensive. That's a really offensive impression. But
We'll try not to do Walt Jr. as best we can. Let's quickly...
Well, that's just what he sounds like. It was I don't know.
Is the actor, I imagine, because of how well the character was
No,
done.
he did actually have cerebral palsy.
Yeah, the actor himself does have it. Which
And-
I can kind of applaud people of the differently abled finding media jobs. I'm not trying to be that guy
Yeah,
right
no,
now. I'm
that's
genuinely saying that is good, rather than a character trying to pretend that. That's just me personally.
I mean, he was good. He was definitely good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely good. And also, he was a good character as well because he certainly had this.
Flynn.
Yeah, Flynn.
What the fuck was that nickname?
Yeah, I mean, like, we've all been fucking,
Shithead.
like, shithead
Kids.
fucking
yeah.
teenagers that want to have a different name that sounded cool. It's like,
We all drew that weirdly symmetrical S on our planners back in school. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do. I know what you're talking about. I didn't because I didn't know how to. Oh, to be fair, I fucking sent an email to my old English teacher the other day. She hasn't replied.
Said
back.
every serial killer.
No, it's a good one. I was like, hey, look, I'm sorry that I was a fucking piece of shit in English, but I've started writing a book and you actually inspired me to do it. So,
Okay,
but she hasn't.
that's actually really cool.
She hasn't. Yeah, she hasn't replied to me though.
Ow. Sorry. But that's
No, that's
actually
okay.
pretty
I was
cool
a
of you.
piece of fucking shit in school. What are we talking about?
I can't remember how I was, but probably shit. I was a teenager loaded with hormones and cum.
Yeah, exactly. And like when you're a teenager, you all think that you're like the shit, don't you?
It's sort of the
You're
thing.
like, oh yeah, I'm the best.
What's the worst
I'm
kind of
cool.
teacher to be? One in secondary school or one in primary?
Oh,
Teenagers loaded with hormones or kids that are loaded on sugar?
Oh mate, fucking secondary school, man. Secondary school is way.
I think you're
worse.
underestimating fucking 8-year-olds. Imagine we were teaching the subjects you and I studied, like drama or performing arts.
Yeah. What did you study at GCSE?
I did 3 things. I did history, I did
History.
drama, and
Yeah, you
business
did
studies.
drama. Oh, you did drama. Yeah,
I did history all the way to A level. It's why I'm
I
such a
did
fucking nerd.
drama. I did drama because all the girls were doing drama, and so I was like, I want to be
Trying
close
to.
to the girls.
You really thought you'd be able to get in there,
Yeah, no, I did.
did you?
No. But I thought I would, alright? I thought
Did you
I
ever
would.
get close, or were they like, oh, why is this fucking boy here?
No, I didn't get close. No, I didn't. I didn't even get
I'm
close.
laughing out
I
of
didn't- I
irony,
did-
not
I did-
at you.
No, I'm fucking laughing because I was like, oh yeah, I thought I'd get close, didn't get close. And then I also did it at college.
I won't
Didn't
lie.
get close either. Oh no, I saw I got close. Well, not really. But
Every
whatever.
girl I've met in our field of profession has been very MT orientated and very struggling. Even though you and I did find partners in our field of profession during our studies, that is honestly miraculous compared to the ratio of probability.
That was weird. I fucking because I did English at school, and like weirdly enough, I because I also did English, so I weirdly enough got like close to a girl that did English. All right, and
Well, that was her
fuck-
favourite subject, or?
yeah, she was very bookish or whatever, and she was like,
She was bookish!
yeah, because she
What
liked
does that mean?
what she know because she liked books and shit. All right, and so I found, and then my English teacher was like, "Hey, look, like you fucking suck at English. So you probably go
Definitely a public school.
fucking go to, you got to fucking, go and, practice.
Go read a book.
Yeah, no, fucking like. Well, yeah, no, literally, they were like, oh yeah, no, you got to fucking like practice more in English.
Go read a fucking book, you troglodyte.
Fucking, yeah, is that you fucking plebeian? Mine is. I met this girl. And she like no one really liked her. Well, not really liked her, but it was like no one really like.
Let me be shallow for a second.
Was-
How does she look? Out of 10, as a teenager.
As a teenager, I don't know, like fucking 6.
Okay, yeah, I can understand.
But the point is, it's not the fact how she looked. It's the fact that my teacher's like, "Oh, you gotta fucking go and start studying English, otherwise you're gonna fucking suck at GCSE." And I was like, "Okay, fine, go and do that." And in turn, she was there, and she was really clever and shit. And so I was like, "Okay, well, fuck."
Bless you.
Well, I was like, "Hey, look, like, can you help me with
the reading?"
Fucking she was like, "Yeah, cool." I mean, she was quite antisocial or whatever. Even more antisocial than I was.
I dated someone like that in secondary.
I didn't date her.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, but she was like really cool. And shit, I found out that she was like really cool. I was like, okay, how much is?
Is it cool? Do you mean rich or?
No, she was cool. She was. Oh yeah, I mean, like she was into like Harry Potter and Pirates of the Caribbean and shit. Like she was cool, but she was like kind of antisocial and shit. She's like, oh.
You're antisocial.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, no, I was like, we became friends, but because she was like,
cool.
but because
And it was never romantic.
No, we were just like fully what's it? Platonic friends.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but the problem was like everyone at my school was like fucking wankers.
Oh,
And
there
so-
goes the couple.
Yeah, it's like-
shit like that.
Well, no, they didn't even say that. It was like whatever. It doesn't matter. But like
Breaking Bad's pretty
got
cool, isn't
really
it?
cool, yeah. That's good. But yeah, it's like platonic friends. Made a really good platonic friend. I haven't seen her in a while, or I haven't seen her since school. But yeah, again,
Not connected on Facebook or anything?
no, she doesn't have Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, or Instagram or anything,
Jesus
or
Christ.
anything like that.
Was she Amish?
I literally do not know.
You can't.
I can't.
Do they even still make Yellow Pages? Do you remember her full name?
Fuck me, man. Yeah, I do know her name. I'm not going to say it on here, though.
Oh, of course. I wasn't.
Respect to her privacy, but yeah, no. Like she was a really cool friend of mine. She's one of the coolest people I ever knew at school, but
That's
couldn't say it because like all the fuckers at my secondary school were wankers. And if you're listening to this, you're still wankers.
700 subscribers, bitch. What have you got?
Yeah, exactly. I will fucking break you.
Credit card debt.
It's like, I will break you.
Well, I think that's covered the women of Breaking Bad. Let's talk about Mike.
Yeah, let's talk about Mike.
Mike was awesome.
Oh.
He was that guy you could imagine could do anything.
Yeah, he was definitely one of those characters. And again, there's that scene where with his daughter, where she's like playing in the playground, and then he's like, gives her money for an ice cream, and it's that way that it's like.
You really felt bad when the money he'd set aside for her
Yeah.
got caught and captured, and like,
Yeah.
aww.
Yeah.
All of the blood money didn't get to go to the little girl.
Oh no.
I think he set aside for her when she was like 21 or something like that.
Yeah, it was for like college money, I think.
Here's $1 million. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Listen up, relatives.
I
I don't care if I'm 27.
Again, it's it's character building, isn't it? In the beginning, it's like, it's just Mike. Oh, it's this guy that
Just one of those sort of like...
does what he does, but then you realise that he has a daughter.
He also you learn
stuff.
as after you first meet him, you first think he's one of those sort of like men that sort of do things. What a shit description. I'm really struggling with a name here, but it's sort of like one of those guys you hire to sort of like carry out tasks. Fucking hell, Dylan.
Yeah, he's like a hitman, isn't he?
That's the thing, I wouldn't even say a hitman.
He kills people.
He does kill people, but he also installs trackers, he tails people. He's sort of someone that can do anything.
He's one of those people who does nefarious stuff for a price. He's a mercenary.
In a way, yeah. He's a very low-key... I'd say he's like an SAS mercenary. If that'd be my best description of him. He's very covert, and he's very precise, and he's very effective. I'd say that sort of thing. But you don't learn about him right away. At first off, you think he's just a sort of a guy that works for Sol and he's doing this and that. But as it goes on, you see that episode where he's like, with a silencer gun, taking out that compound full of guys to rescue.
I mean, he's good at what he does.
Yeah,
and he was. That's why he survives.
And he's got so much street smarts. Like the speech he gave to Walt when I think Walt wanted to get Jesse put in prison for a while to keep him out of trouble.
And even the
because Mike was like, no more half measures and all that sort of that big speech.
Yeah, and also even the cartel hitman brother that had his legs cut off. Like Mike killed that guy.
Mike saw he was coming. He saw the sicker outside Walt's place, and he's like, "You know what, Walt? Maybe you need someone watching your back."
But like the cartel member that had his legs cut off, when he dies and flatlines, Mike is in the background. You can see him putting a phone out, and he killed that fucking dude. But again, it's character building. It's character building. Seeing
Mike looks like an every guy. If he looked like James Bond, he'd be suspicious as fuck.
Exactly. That's the thing. If you look like a hitman, then you're a shit hitman.
Yeah, exactly.
like Mike doesn't look like that. And again, with the scene, the shot in the playground with his daughter, it's like you wouldn't think that Mike.
I actually remember the interaction he had with the little girl in the car when he was talking about a rhinoceros and so with his really big nose. That's not a nose, that's his horn. Is that right? I learn all kinds of new things with you. It's so sweet.
Yeah,
it's hard to watch because it's so nice.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It reminds me of I'm about to be really pretentious. It reminds me of this poem from an anthology called The Vultures. And the poem was about this commandant from a concentration camp on his way home to his son, waiting to get sweets from him with the stench of human flesh still in his nostrils. Yeah. And it's all about the fact that the little kid doesn't know anything about that. He's waiting for daddy to come home with sweets in his pockets. And it's similar to that. This little girl just knows of a lovely grandpa that takes her to the park and gets her ice cream, even though he's killed loads of horrible people.
Yeah. Again, it's like Boy in Striped Pajamas, where they, Boy in Striped Pajamas.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the place.
That's a rough comedy, but I got through it.
But it's like the house where they live. Oh, you fucker. But it's like the house where they live, it's called Outwith.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a play on the words Auschwitz.
Really?
Yeah, Outwith.
You don't say.
Yeah, shut up. But it's
the idea that someone who does horrible things can have that humanity to them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Exactly.
Which brings the depth.
Yeah, exactly. Like just because you do horrible things, doesn't necessarily mean that you're. It's like bravery. It's like bravery does not necessarily.
Everyone's the hero of their own story.
Yeah, exactly. Bravery does not necessarily, relate to moral compass.
Well, it goes back to our old episode when we were discussing about the boys. Like Homelander's brave, but his moral compass is fucked.
Yeah, for sure. It's like Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean. He is brave, but doesn't necessarily mean he's the good guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that comes back to the whole power. Mike had a lot of power.
Yeah.
Did Gus give him power? Do you remember when Gus
had a lot of power.
That's the thing. Do you remember when Gus, we haven't talked about this yet, slit Mike's partner's throat?
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
he
a lot
did.
of. I watched a video about that on the YouTube not too long ago.
On
and
the
I
YouTube. Sorry.
I know. I'm trying to break that.
You keep saying the YouTube.
I'm really trying to break it. It pisses my partner off a lot.
It's because the fact that you say it, like my dad says that. It's like, oh, have you seen this video on the YouTube?
And I'm 27.
I was like,
know.
yeah. The thing is, like, my mate Dylan also says the YouTube.
Well,
Like,
who's the
well,
common denominator here, Rob?
Probably it's more like my dad would say the YouTube. Whereas who's the YouTube? Oh, the Instagram. Oh, I saw also on the Twitter. Like,
I posted on the line the other day.
it was on the line.
I watched that film the other day. It was shit.
Anyway, Dylan, okay, continue.
What was I talking about? Something like I
I
watched
don't know. You were talking about something about on the line.
a video on YouTube.
On the YouTube.
And it was the video where Gus slit Mike's partner's throat.
Yeah,
and the comments
with the
were,
fucking box cutter shit.
And the comments were lined. The comments were lined with theories on why Gus did that. Why do you think Gus did that? Before I talk about all that.
I don't know, because it's like, oh look, this guy was fucking a chink in the chain, so you gotta fucking get rid of the contamination.
Why was he a chink in the chain?
I don't know. I can't even remember what he fucking did. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I'll quickly go over
no, I haven't. But I'm assuming it's because... Well, there's probably two reasons. One of them was the fact that he was a threat to the... You know, the good cycle that Gus had going on.
Okay.
That was probably one of them. The fact that he was probably a threat to that, because he did fuck up, didn't he? He did something that...
Well, remember, he was seen at the crime scene when Gale was murdered. People saw him there. So a lot of people have theorised that's why Gus killed him, because people saw him.
I thought there was...
And there was even a wanted poster with his face seen.
Well, there we go then. Okay, fine.
However, it's also theorised that because he overstepped his bounds and started cooking Walt's meth without his permission, that's why he did it. Because remember, he was like, I've been watching these guys for years, and he started cooking the meth.
Well, there we go. That's why...
Those are the theories I came across.
Yeah, well, again, that's why Walt told Jesse, do not cook meth without me. Because if you do, Gus is going to kill you. Because that's what happens. Like, Jesse, because when Hank has been shot a load of times and Walt's at the hospital, and Jesse's like, hey, I've been fucking sitting in this lab for ages, we need to start cooking, and Walter's like, no, do not cook without me. It's probably because Walt is saying, like, do not cook meth without me, because if you do it, Gus is going to fucking kill you.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because, like, and he knows, Walt knows that Jesse's meth is not as good as his. And so, like,
well, he cooked it for the hillbillies when he was captured, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but only after.
I say hillbillies, is that okay? Or...
Well, with his rednecks, fucking whatever. But I was thinking, because, like, the reason why Gus killed the dude with the boxcar, because he was like, you tried to cook it, and it wasn't as good, and so therefore you've wasted all my methylene, or whatever, the stuff.
Ingredients,
Yeah, stuff. It's like, you wasted it all. Oh yeah, but it's only a little bit different. Only a little bit different. Yeah, that's...
Wasn't there also a problem with they were making too much meth and Jesse was kind of skimming from the top with the shit they were making for Gus and shit like that?
I'm fairly sure the reason why Gus killed the guy, because the guy made meth that wasn't as good. It wasn't, like, as good.
Gus never even saw the meth. He heard the guy was making the meth while Walt was there. And when Gus entered, he had the box cutter and Walt starts talking, Gus, you need me to make meth. Your whole thing, all this money you spent, it dies without me. And Walt's talking endlessly about it. And what does Gus do? He immediately goes to the guy, Mike's friend, that was making the meth, and just slits his throat.
I swear.
And then he talks to Walt and says, get back to work.
Oh, is that it?
That's what happened.
Is that it?
I promise you. He never even saw the meth the guy made. He comes in, finds out the guy's making the meth. Walt starts pleading for his life. And Gus takes the box cutter and just slits the guy's throat. And he never even says anything else other than get back to work.
I swear it was because the guy did something wrong with the meth. That wasn't to the same
I
standard.
don't recall that. Like I said, he was seen at the crime scene of Gale.
I swear it was the fact that the guy that Gus killed.
Yeah.
I swear that was because he tried to make the meth that wasn't as good as what Walt was making, and that's why Gus killed him.
Finished. I think it came in while he was still making it.
Or he did something. I
watched the scene the other day. That's the thing. I went through comments of all these theories, and I'm pretty sure he never finished making it.
Oh, was that it?
I'm pretty sure.
Was it the fact that he didn't get it done in time, and that's why he killed him?
Because
remember, he was like he was definitely on a timer about how.
I think the theory is more about the idea that he made it without Gus's permission. Like he just decided, I can make these guys meth without Gus knowing, and Gus did it.
Oh, actually, do you know what? That sounds familiar, actually.
It's sort of theorised that Gus was like, I never said you could make these guys meth and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was like,
sounds familiar, actually.
It was also a message to Walt, like, if I'll do this to this guy, what will I do to you? It's a power move.
Yeah, it's like, hey, look, you make the amount of meth that I say you can make.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
That's the theory.
I think that's right. Actually,
I'd agree.
No, I think that's right.
Right, we're close to a finish now. It's 1:05 an hour. I want to quickly go over an infamous sort of controversy between the two of us, and that is the one Breaking Bad episode you despise more than any other. Yes. You know what I'm talking about, so if you want to lead this.
Yeah, it's the Fly episode.
The Fly episode. You despise it. I think it's really sort of integral, but if... Do you want to start?
Just because it's integral. Okay.
Let's go.
Just because it's integral does not mean it's entertaining or fun to watch.
It depends, I'd say, how engrossed you are with the characters and the idiosyncrasies.
It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
I mean, even the most... I've always said this, you can put the most interesting people in the world in a white room and you'll still want to watch it. So even though not a lot is going on, because you know Walt and you know Jesse and you know why they're doing what they're doing, I think that's enough.
It's not.
Why? Okay, let's explain the episode.
Okay, so the episode is very much... It revolves around this idea of Walt and Jesse trying to capture this fly
that's made it into their laboratory where they cook the meth,
which is potentially contaminating.
Yeah, Walt refuses to let them cook for the whole day until they catch this one little fly because he is preoccupied with the idea that it would make his meth imperfect.
Yeah.
And because, like you mentioned earlier, Walt's pride, he refuses to allow even the tiniest, even a fly's amount of imperfection within his own perfect meth.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's boring. It's fucking boring.
It makes so much sense for the character.
I will defy you to get 100 people and ask them, would you like to watch this episode? And I guarantee...
Have they seen the show up till then, or...?
It doesn't even matter.
Okay.
It doesn't even matter. I was like, would you like to see this episode of two men trying to capture this fly? It lasts for 47 minutes, by the way. They trying to capture this fly. Would you watch this?
I'm a fucking weirdo because part of me would think, actually, I want to see how they do it.
Yeah, but that's because...
Imagine you heard a stage show, like a theatrical stage show about two men just trying to capture a fly. Are you not interested?
No, I'm not.
You don't think it might be subversive or anything?
Well, no, I mean, I watched it. I watched the episode.
Okay. No, I'm talking about, imagine you came across a flyer for a stage show. Like an actual, like...
Two men trying to get... I'm like, no, not really.
I'd be honest, I'd be interested.
Okay,
like, that is such a mundane objective. Part of me feels like, okay, there's got to be more to this than I'm just seeing.
Here's what I think, is the fact that, because again, this is season 4, or 3.
I guessed wrong earlier, so I'll take your word for it.
I can't remember which one it is. It's either 3 or 4.
Definitely towards the end.
But it's like, oh look, people love Breaking Bad, so we're gonna do this one.
You thought they were testing audiences' patience?
Yes. I mean, they certainly tested my patience. It is like you cannot sit there and tell me that this is a good episode.
Better than others. Again,
you cannot
I think
tell me that watching 2 guys trying to catch a fly in a room is a good episode.
every now and then, don't you need a breath of release from all of the high intense action? Let me finish. A breath of release from the high intense action and allow a little bit of character study and character depth.
That's not character study or character depth.
Well, it portrays Walt's obsession with his idea of perfection inside his own work.
No, wrong.
Okay.
No, that is pretentious wanking yourself off. It is. That's pretentious wanking yourself off.
Well, do you think the writers made it with none of that in mind?
No.
Okay.
No, they tried to be artsy-fartsy and try to wank themselves off. That's all
Wait, so if they tried to be artsy-fartsy, they did have that in mind?
What?
The idea that it's Walt's obsession about protecting his own perfection of his work.
Well, they didn't pull it off if that's what they were thinking.
Okay.
Did they?
And Jesse...
Like, if that's what they were thinking, they didn't pull it off.
Well, do you remember Jesse's story about the aunt that was convinced that had a rodent underneath her house that was always scratching? And even when they got rid of it, the aunt was convinced it was still there.
Do you think that episode's good?
Yes.
Do you?
Honestly.
I feel sorry for you.
If I had to give it out of 10, I'd give it a solid 6 or 7.
I feel sorry for you. That is not a good episode, man.
Will you allow me to explain why I think it's good, or...
Yeah, I'll let you. Go on.
Again,
Explain.
Like I was saying before, the story about the aunt or something that thought the rodent was there, and even when it was perfectly gone, she wouldn't listen. She still claimed she was still hearing the scrapes.
Yeah, but that's not in the same episode. We're talking about the fly episode.
That is the same episode. Because remember, there was a point when Jesse was like, the fly's gone, Walt, and Walt didn't believe him and thought it was still there, and Jesse brought up that story. Because even though the fly was gone, Walt wouldn't believe it was gone. It was the idea that of this unobtainable standard that Walt couldn't meet for himself, sort of thing. And Jesse was trying to bring him back, but I think the pressure and all that was getting to Walt and all that. And that was the story's in the same episode, and it was a perfect metaphor for, again, like you mentioned earlier, Walt's pride. And it was the idea of his pride meeting with his urgency.
Do you actually think that that's a good episode, though? Do you actually...
You asked me that a minute ago.
It's a bad episode. It's boring.
Okay.
It's boring.
Let's flip this
Come
back.
on, man.
Let's flip this.
Come on, man. Like, come on, just a minute. You know it's a bad episode.
This is like...
Come on, bro.
This is Black Panther all over again.
It's not. No, come on, man. Just admit it. It's a bad episode. It's boring.
Let's flip the mattress. Why is it a bad episode?
Because it's boring.
Why?
Because it's 2 guys trying to chase a fly that might or might not even exist.
Right.
And nothing actually happens. Like, what does it contribute to the story? Like, nothing. It's just those 2 guys.
It's not about the story.
Well, that's stupid, isn't it?
You don't think...
Oh, right. So we're going to have this whole episode that lasts for 47 minutes. Best part of an hour. That's not about the story. That's stupid. The whole point of, media and storytelling is to add to the story. It has nothing to the story.
So nothing about the episode was engaging?
No, nothing.
Jesse trying to convince Walt, Jesse trying to trick Walt, Walt trying to explain...
guess what? Because they've done that throughout the past, every episode throughout the entire series.
But this was an obstacle they'd never overcome before. Jesse and Walt trying to overcome Walt.
They could have done it better.
How?
It was boring as fuck. In any way.
How would you have approached the Fly episode?
How would you have approached the Fly episode?
The way it is, because I like it.
Alright. Yeah. Fuck it. I mean, you like black, but well, fuck it. Okay, fine.
I'm trying to be lethargic about this. Like
lethargic?
Yes.
Do you know what lethargic means?
Yes.
Lethargic.
Do you know what it means?
I'm going to look it up.
I'm trying to meet you halfway here, but I feel like I'm being asked to pay the toll at a bridge here.
Lethargic.
Yes.
Do you know what it means?
Yes.
Do you actually? Okay, what does it mean?
It's sort of an indifferent compromise. It's sort of a belaying sense of contemporary sort of allowance.
No. Lethargic, to feel sleepy, fatigued, or sluggish.
I may have misspoken. Well, in a way, this is almost apt, because apparently that's how this episode made you feel.
Yeah, probably.
It looks like we are not going to come to a consensus here. Anyone else there in the comments who may agree with me or Rob regarding the Fly episode of Breaking Bad, put down in the comments your theories about why the episode was awesome or why the episode was apparently wank.
Or would you rewatch Breaking Bad?
What is its rewatch value? And if it has none, let us know. Your favourite characters, your favourite moments. We didn't even
your least favourite characters and least favourite moments.
We didn't even talk about half of the badass moments in Breaking Bad. If you'd like a sequel to this episode,
I mean, to be fair, like that's kind of our podcast in general, isn't it? Yeah, you know all that favourite stuff, you know about stuff. Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, let's wank on for half an hour talking about the conditioner Skylar uses.
Oh, God. I mean,
we would.
You're not lying. You're not lying.
For whatever reason, 700 people watch it.
Yeah, in which case, if you are listening to this, and even if you've got this far, please seek mental help.
An hour and 16 minutes in. No one's listening.
Hey,
not even you, George Evans. Yes, you. You're not this far in. If you're this far in, comment. Prove to us that someone makes it to the ends, George. Or Molly. Post it in the comments. I double dare you, motherfucker.
It's neither.
Those seem to be the only two fans that seem to be really sort of be paying attention.
Yeah, it's quite unsettling actually how they're like, oh yeah, I remember the part where like so it says like really. Oh god, oh honey.
Do we know anyone else that has watched this series? Because personally, I don't.
I know you.
Has your partner watched this?
I know you. Oh no, fuck no, she hasn't watched.
Mine hasn't either. Do we know anyone in our social group that's watched Breaking Bad?
We have a social group. What?
Okay, the community of people we pretend we don't hate.
That's again. Anyway, ladies. Gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, I have been Rob McNabb.
I've been Dylan Altoft.
And until next time, you've been listening to Laughing on a...
Laughing